Welcome to Speak Life with Dr. Amy Chai. Information for your best life. Now, here's Amy Chai.
Dr. Amy Chai, and you're watching Speak Life New Haven. Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, really important, and something that's really coming to be a new thing that's just now being covered by insurance, and that is weight loss medications. And if you haven't seen the preceding 3 videos about why can't I lose weight, parts 1 through 3, you might want to go and watch those first, because that gives you a lot of background information about what I'm going to say today. So before we get started, I would like to ask you, if you have somebody in your life who is maybe a spouse or a partner or somebody that you just want to have help you out with your diet, you might want to watch this, which is called the 10 Commandments of Diet Support. So get that person ready to watch, and I'm going to go ahead and put this full screen so you can see it better. I'm going to read these 10 commandments to you right now. The 10 Commandments of Diet Support. Number 1, thou shalt not tell thy neighbor that they need to lose weight, for they are well aware. Number 2, thou shalt not undermine thy neighbor's diet, neither with chips, nor with cookies, nor with, quote, just take one bite, unquote, for that is destructive to their progress. Number 3, thou shalt not compare thy diet to thy neighbor's, for thy bodies are not the same. Number 4, thou shalt never utter the words, should you really be eating that? Number 5, thou shalt not ask thy dieting neighbor to obtain snack foods for thee, nor shall thy neighbor be expected to watch you eat them. Number 6, thou shalt tell thy marital partner that they appeareth hot to thee, for this giveth them hope and a reason to continue their journey to health. Number 7, thou shalt share with gladness the foods that thy marital partner striveth to eat, including vegetables. Number 8, thou shalt make of thee a fun time, inviting thy dieting neighbor on walks and other such active yet non-threatening and positive activities. Number 9, thou shalt hide all thy unhealthy snacks if thou really must eat them, as temptation is of the devil. Number 10, thou shalt watch Dr. Chai's informative show, Speak Life New Haven, to learn why prior ideas, even ideas that you may have heard from your physician, are completely wrong. So this 10 Commandments is a little bit silly. It's a little bit funny, but it really represents something that's so true, something that everybody struggles with if you've ever been on a diet. And as for me, I have probably the skinniest husband in the world, and he can eat whatever he wants to eat. So he really doesn't understand the struggle to eat healthy that I have. So there's a couple of points that I want to really bring out from these 10 commandments. And the first one is, a lot of people come to my clinic and they just really ask me, Dr. Chai, how can I tell my wife or how can I tell my husband that they're really overweight? And I just say, you know what? They already know. It's not really helpful to tell people that they're overweight. It's helpful to support them on their journey to health. Another thing that I find that's very common, especially amongst couples, is when one half of the couple is policing what the other person eats, shaming them if they have a treat, or like asking them, oh, should you really be eating that? That actually is counterproductive because that makes the person who's eating the snack, even if they've been doing very well, it makes them feel bad and it creates a negative spiral of failure. So instead, you'll want to do something really positive. Like you'll want to say, hey, let's go for a walk, or hey, let's do, something fun together. And that's the way you build relationships, you build fun, you put physical activity into your life. It's also important to tell your partner that you think they look attractive. And this is because when people are in our society today, they're often shamed for their weight. They're often feeling bad. And when you look at them and you say, "Hey, you're overweight," that just makes them feel very down on themselves, and it makes it more difficult because it creates those negative emotions that make it harder to follow a very positive, life affirming, health affirming choice. So, what you'll want to do is you want to say, hey, you look great. You look hot. You just look wonderful. And that's what we call body positivity. It's not saying that obesity is beautiful, or it just means that you, the person inside of you, is beautiful to me. And it doesn't matter what weight you are. And when people feel unconditionally supported, what that does is it makes them feel positive. It gives them hope. It gives them reason to continue on their health journey. Another thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to avoid temptation for your partner. You'll want to avoid eating snacks in front of them or putting a bunch of snacks in the house. That's just going to make it harder for your partner. So try not to do that. And then finally, the other really important thing that whenever you're saying, oh, I'm trying to lose weight, someone will inevitably come and explain how easy it was for them to melt off 10 pounds in a couple of days with whatever fad diet they had, or how easy it is for them to lose weight. Well, guess what? Bodies are very different. Everyone's body is beautiful. Everyone has a different journey to health. Everyone has different challenges. Everyone has different genetics, different hormonal makeup. So when you're saying something like, oh, it was easy for me, what that does is it implies that the other person is a failure or is lazy or has no self-control. And that's just not true. And if you will go ahead and you'll watch my prior 3 shows, Why Can't I Lose Weight? You'll understand a little bit more about why that's true. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to take this picture off for you right now. I want to talk about weight loss drugs. And weight loss drugs are not a quick fix. And weight loss drugs are not something that you do because you're too lazy to diet, or they're not magical pills, okay? Weight loss drugs are to be carefully and thoughtfully prescribed by your physician when you've already been working towards healthy lifestyle goals. So, step number 1 is creating lifestyle change, which is making sure that you have adequate rest, trying to minimize your stress, trying to set, regular meal times, trying to eat fruits and vegetables, eat healthy, drink plenty of water, and get some physical activity. When you've done that, and yet you find that you're still struggling to lose weight, then it's absolutely time to consider medications. And I don't know if you remember, back in the 1990s, there was a medication called fen-phen, and everyone heard the horror stories about fen-phen. This medication caused problems with people's heart valves, and it was pulled from the market. So it's been scary for us as physicians after like being burned by this fen-phen drug. Which drugs are going to be safe? Which drugs are going to be effective? And nobody really wants to be the first doctor to try, a new drug on their patients. We want to see we want to see how other people are treating their patients first. And if other people's patients are doing well, when they're like, okay, we'll try it too. So all of these medications that I'm going to discuss, except for the very last one, are all pretty much tried and true medications. So there's a lot of experience behind them that we can talk about. So let me bring up the first medication. The first medication is called phentermine. Now, phentermine is, and there's a little molecule there that shows that phentermine is basically just like an adrenaline type of a drug. It gives you that adrenaline rush that kind of boosts your metabolism, boosts your energy, makes you feel less hungry. It's like a stimulant drug. Okay. So you can probably guess what the side effect profile of phentermine might be. So the phentermine side effect profile is it might make you feel a little bit jittery. It might make your blood pressure go up. Usually, if your blood pressure is under control, if you have high blood pressure, you can still take phentermine, but you have to check your blood pressure regularly to make sure that it's still under good control. And if you feel nervous or jittery on it, it might not be the drug for you, or you may simply need to reduce the dose. But phentermine is a good medication because it's old, it's been around for years, it's tried, it's true, it's safe, and it's effective as long as you don't get side effects from it. And the good thing is that it's inexpensive. So your doctor can prescribe it. And if your insurance company does not cover weight loss drugs, which is often the case, phentermine is certainly the cheapest option. Okay, so let's bring up the next option, and that is going to be Contrave. Now, Contrave is two different drugs. Contrave is bupropion, which is also known as Wellbutrin, which is an antidepressant. And this antidepressant is actually combined with a medication called naltrexone. And you may have heard naltrexone before because naltrexone is the drug that we also call Vivitrol. And you might have heard of Vivitrol in controlling addictions. And that's what naltrexone actually does. Because guess what? Food can actually be an addiction for many people, especially sugar. There's certainly a link, and you see in the picture, you see a woman who's struggling with alcohol abuse. Alcohol and sugar are linked between those type of cravings. Cravings for alcohol and cravings for sugar can be linked. And also even opiates, when people become clean, a lot of times off of street drugs, oftentimes they start eating more sugar because sugar actually has an addictive effect in the brain. So what the naltrexone does is it cuts the craving for the sugars. And it's also combined with the bupropion or Wellbutrin, which has also been used for smoking cessation. So who's the right person to take this particular medication? This medication is best for people who have a sort of a compulsive or sort of an addictive approach to food, where they seem to, if there's food in the house, you just kind of can't control eating it. Sort of like an alcoholic. If there's alcohol in the house, you can't help but drink it. It's very similar. And the bupropion also is an antidepressant. If you're a little bit depressed, if you're an emotional eater, this might also be the drug for you. It's a pretty safe drug unless you have liver problems or if you have seizure disorders, you might not want to use this drug. but your doctor can tell you about other side effects. So the next drug that we want to talk about is Qsymia. And Qsymia is another drug that is a combination drug. Now, Qsymia is a combination of topiramate and phentermine. Now, you already heard about phentermine already, which is available as a single drug. Um, it can it can be taken on its own as the sort of fight or flight, adrenaline stimulant, hunger suppressing type of drug. Okay. But when you add it with topiramate is actually a medication that's an anticonvulsant, and it's often used for prevention of migraines. And when people were given this drug, topiramate, its quote unquote negative side effect is weight loss. So a lot of people like the side effect and they're like, hey, this is really good. So if you're a person who actually has, maybe you have a lot of migraine headaches, Qsymia might actually be a good choice for you. Um, but similarly, it also has the phentermine. So again, you'd want to be watching your blood pressure. And again, for all of these drugs, I'm just giving you one or two potential common side effects. But every body is different. And so if you're considering taking any of these medications, you definitely want to speak to your doctor and you definitely want to ask them about the safety and efficacy of this particular medicine in your body with the medications that you're already taking, just to make sure that you get on the right medication. So that was a little bit of a sidetrack there, but Qsymia, it actually tends to make people eat less at meals. So it decreases your hunger and it helps people eat less with each meal. So it's very good for weight loss as well. So we've done phentermine, we've done Contrave, we've done Qsymia, and the next medication we're going to talk about is Wegovy. And Wegovy is called semaglutide, which is a glutide type of drug, which is actually, it started out as Ozempic, which is a drug for diabetes. And it turns out that diabetics who were taking Ozempic lost quite a bit of weight, up to 15% of their body weight, depending on the dose. So immediately it was realized that this would be a perfect choice for weight loss. So what they did is they did a trial for weight loss, and it's also approved for weight loss with a different name called Wegovy. So Wegovy and Ozempic are basically the same drug. And there's 2 or 3 other drugs in the same class. Now, this drug, be aware, this drug requires you to give yourself a subcutaneous injection once per week. Okay, it comes in a pen. You take the cap off and you just pop it under your skin. You pinch a little bit of skin and just pop it in. It's very easy to do. But if you're extremely squeamish about needles, you might have a problem with this drug. Okay, it's sort of like giving insulin. It's a very easy injection. It's just subcutaneous, and most people have no problem with it, and it works very well. And the great thing about it, when you look at this picture, you've seen I put 4 different anatomical pictures in that, and that's because the semaglutide works in so many different ways. And I even left one out because it actually works in the muscles too. But in the stomach, it works by making the stomach so that it digests slower and it empties out slower. So you feel more full. Okay. the potential side effect here is that you could actually feel a little bit nauseated because your stomach is full a little bit longer and it squeezes, it doesn't quite empty out well enough. So some people, especially when they start out using this medication, sometimes can feel a little queasy, but that usually goes away after 2 or 3 weeks. And sometimes every time you increase the dose, you'll have queasiness again. The other thing you see there is the liver. And as you may or may not know, the liver stores glycogen, which is a form of sugar that it releases overnight. And what it does, this is a GLP agonist, and what it is glucagon-like protein, and it works in the liver, and it affects how the liver um, releases and stores the glucose. It also works with the pancreas. It helps with the pancreas and how the pancreas secretes the insulin. And it also works in the muscles to help the muscles to use the actual glucose in the blood more effectively. So, as you can see, there's a lot of different ways that this particular substance works. It works on several different systems. It decreases your hunger, it helps you manage your blood sugar better, and it helps you feel less hungry. Oh, I put the brain there too. It makes you think less of food, and it helps decrease your insulin resistance. So this is a lot of good things that the Wegovy does, and it's a once a week subcutaneous dosage. And I would be remiss if I did not say something about this new drug. This new drug is called Mounjaro, which is tirzepatide. And tirzepatide is actually a combination of two different drugs. And it like just came out. It's a brand new drug, which is why, you know, like I said, I usually wait maybe a year or two before I start prescribing new drugs because I want to make sure somebody else tries them first before my patients try them. But they've had great results with this. They've had up to 20% weight loss with this drug, which is shocking and amazing. This is like probably the premier weight loss drug out there right now. So it combines, remember we spoke about Wegovy, which is semaglutide, is a GLP-1 receptor agonist, which is glucagon-like peptide. So it does everything that we just talked about in the last drug, except it also includes a second drug. And the second drug is gastric inhibitory peptide, and that's a peptide that is secreted by the small intestine called GIP. So both of these together are actually given in the body in the same way that the Wegovy is. It comes in a pen. You basically give yourself a small subcutaneous injection one time per week, and you can lose up to 20% of your body weight. Now, again, what I have to say about weight loss drugs is that everyone's body is different and everyone's struggle is different. Now, some people have lost weight and they don't want to regain it, and it's very hard. They're fighting against it. Some people have cravings. Maybe they're an emotional eater. Maybe they have like a sugar addiction. There's people who feel fatigued all the time, people who simply um, eat because they're tired or their metabolism is slowed. So there's all these different ways that people struggle with obesity. And each one of these different ways might have a drug that works maybe a little bit better for them, for their body, for their circumstance. And each one of these drugs has a slightly different side effect profile. And the side effect profile, of course, we see from the drug itself, like as in the GLP-1 receptor agonist, where your stomach doesn't empty out quick enough, it's obvious that some people are going to feel queasy with that until they get used to it, right? And then with the ones that act in the way of an adrenaline type of a drug, it's obvious that some people might feel nervous or jittery with that drug. But not everyone is going to have the same side effect. Not everyone is going to react the same way to the drug. And that's why typically these drugs will be given for about 3 months. And then the doctor will reevaluate and see, well, was there any weight loss? And typically, in order to say the drug is effective, you need to have a good 5% weight loss before you'll want to continue it. Otherwise, you probably want to try, something a little bit different, because you don't want to keep taking the medication if it's not working for you. Okay. Because, like I said, every body is different. Every body is different. So let me take this down for a second here. Okay. So just talking a little bit about the general concept of taking these medications. When I first started out as a new doctor, fen was on the market, and phentermine. And phentermine is still on the market. It's the oldest drug that we have available here. So it's got the most experience. It has the most knowledge. It's very safe unless you have uncontrolled hypertension. So it's been around the longest. And the instructions on it say that you should use it for 3 months to get your weight loss. Well, the problem is, remember in the previous programs, I was talking about why can't I lose weight? Well, the issue is that once you stop taking these drugs, it's often the case that the weight can come creeping back again for the same reasons that I discussed in my prior 3 videos. And that's your body trying to go back to its set point. And the set point isn't cut and dried. It's just that your body is trying to defend a certain weight that it has become accustomed to. So when you lose weight, your body struggles. Your body struggles and struggles to try to gain that weight back. And when you're trying to lose weight, your body fights because your body doesn't want you to starve. So what happens with these drugs is they make a change in your body biochemically that adjusts that set point down a little bit. And then when you stop using it, you're actually going to struggle with that same problem once again. So the question now is, how long should these medications be utilized? And it may be that many of these medications need to be utilized kind of long term. So you'll want to really be aware of that. These drugs are not a quick fix. These drugs are not miracle pills. These drugs are simply enabling you to make the right choices and enabling you to succeed on your weight loss journey. They're not accomplishing the weight loss for you. You still have to do the diet. You still have to do the exercise. The only thing that these medications do is they enable you to meet your goals by either changing your metabolism, changing how your body interacts with sugar, changing how your brain is thinking about sugar, cravings, and food, and also how your pancreas works, how your liver works, how your stomach works, okay? These medications are not magic pills, okay? I just wanted to kind of repeat that. A lot of people want to shame people for taking medications. That's ridiculous. Obesity is a disease. It's not a choice. The behaviors of obesity are a symptom of obesity, not a cause of obesity. If you need to take medications, explore the medications, Try the medications if they're right for you after discussing them thoroughly with your doctor, discussing all the potential side effects, risks, benefits, and everything, and making sure that you are doing all the things in your power. So these medications are there. They're there to help you. They're here to help. They're here to help you achieve your goals. And I just want to wish you all the best as you work towards the best health that you can have for yourself. And if you need to use medications, it's okay to use medications. Accept yourself, accept your body, accept your partner's body, because you're all beautiful. So next time you see someone, speak a little bit of life into their world and help them on their journey as well. So we'll see you next time when we're going to talk a little bit more about addiction. Bye-bye.
Tune in next time for Speak Life with Dr. Amy Chai at ctpolitics.tv.